Hello, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Andrew, and we're both native speakers living here in Poland for, well, a long time, well over 10 years, 15 for you, and I think 12 for myself.
A long time.
A long time. Numbers are not important.
Yeah.
And we both are native speakers who have had some experience here in Poland, as you can see, and we're trying to help you with some terminology and to translate that Polish terminology into English. And sometimes it's not easy, even for us.
No, not even for us. And we'll spend a long time going over a word and what we think it means and what, our interpretation of it.
And then we find out years later we were wrong.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about spring terminology, more about holidays. And in Poland, what's extremely important is, of course, Wielki Post.
Wielki Post, which in English we would call Lent.
Now, there's a big difference between those two words.
Yeah, because post is a fast, right?
That's right, yeah, fast, meaning you don't eat food, right? And fasting would mean, yes?
Fasting is when you restrict your diet in some way, right? And I know some people that do a fast even from media or something like that. So I think it just means a restriction of some kind.
Oh, absolutely, that's right. So when you say Wielki Post, the great fast or fasting, it doesn't mean anything in English.
Not really. I guess if someone does do a fast for Lent, or usually it just means giving up something that's rather decadent, or whatever, some indulgence. But for the word Lent has a completely different origin, right? It has nothing to do with a fast. It has to do with the lengthening of the days. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly because my Anglo-Saxon's gone a bit rusty, but I think the word was lengtena, which is lengthen, so it has to do with the days getting longer. And it also coincides with a period of purification, probably not voluntary back in the day, because the food supply was pretty limited at this point in the year.
When I'm fasting, is that something that we would commonly say during Lent? Like in Polish, of course, they say POŚCIခြ. Is that something like, oh, it's Lent, that means we don't eat fish on Fridays, or we don't eat fish at all during the week, or we give something up, as you mentioned. I remember going to Catholic school and we would give something up. Like, I won't eat chocolate.
Right.
But would you say I'm fasting? No. The term wouldn't be used.
You don't. I mean, I think when you talk about for Lent, I'm giving this up for Lent. And we even now would say a behavior even, not necessarily. Because this, yeah, I think I've definitely heard people say they're giving up a behavior for Lent. As well as some kind of a
And that's
food.
not only Catholic, that can also be, of course, for Protestants.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I think Catholics are way more into that, but I definitely know Protestants that do give up something for Lent. It's not exclusively Catholic, but I think, it's sort of, the whole Holy Week and everything is, I think, more. There's a lot more focus on it in Catholicism.
All right, so we'll talk Wielki Post. So, for the most part, Lent, 40 days, more or less, before Easter.
Right.
Now, the problem is that you tell somebody, oh, it's Lent, and Post is fast.
Right.
But then they say, no, fast is szybko. And no, there are two meanings in English. So, I am walking fast, quickly. He is fast, he is quick. That's fine, that's one word, but there's another word, and fast, of course, is just POŚCIခြ.
Right, and I'm not sure if they're connected. I mean, because that's a problem in English, is that we have a lot of these kind of words where it is the same word, but it's not the same word, and the root is not even the same. And probably there's another word that has to do, like we have breakfast, which is breaking of the fast. So that word, I don't know that it has anything to do with being fast, but it sounds the same and it's spelled the same. So that's the real fun, right?
It's really confusing. And of course, not to get yourselves even more confused, is another word, of course, fasten. And fasten, of course, is what you would do with the seatbelt. You would fasten the seatbelt. And we do not pronounce the T, we say fasten. It looks the same, it's not the same. And remember, there are two meanings of the word fast, two major meanings.
Well, I wonder about fasten, because you also, it's not really a modern usage, but you talk about holding fast to something, like in meaning tight. So maybe fasten is to tight, to have something in a grip, or so there's three words in one for you, right?
Many different similarities. Fest is also something
fest, but that's
But let's just stick to the most important English words. Fast, of course, is post. We use Wielki Post, it's not going to be the great fast. For the most part, we just say Lent. POŚCIခြ is to fast, but fast also, you all can remember from basic English lessons, means quick. or quickly. Now we're going to move on to, well, when does Lent start? It starts on a Wednesday, and in Polish, of course, it's Środa Popielcowa.
Right, which is pretty much the same in English, Ash Wednesday.
So it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Not a difficult word. We can move on. We
I
have
think
the same
so.
tradition, more or less.
More or less.
It's called Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's the official beginning of Lent.
Right.
Then we have something that's really strange, which I think I should have put before, but I forgot. It's TŁUSTY CZWARTek. For some reason, this is before Lent.
Before Lent, you have,
have to
here
go back.
they do TŁUSTY CZWARTek, so it's Fat Thursday. And then I think pretty much anywhere else in the world, they do the Fat Tuesday. So you have Mardi Gras, this, and also in Britain, they call it Shrove Tuesday or Pancake Tuesday, where I think the whole thing is about getting rid of all of the rich food, the fat, the butter, the eggs.
Prepared.
And
for fasting.
right. So you eliminate that, you use it up, and then you have your fast the next day.
And typically here in Poland, what they give you is POŚCIခြ,
which are these very rich. They call them donuts, but to me a donut has a whole, I would say, jelly donuts, extremely rich, full of everything, right?
Oh, that's
all
right.
All the fat is in there. It could be jelly, it could be with cream.
Well, that's right. They have different fillings.
Right.
And the fillings are extremely important. People go crazy. They eat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even more. Teenage boys can eat, I don't know, up to 7 of them, I've heard. But then they'll say things like...
It's a legend.
Then they say things like the Marmalade. Now, could you say, I have a marmalade donut? I don't think that works.
Doesn't work for me. Those things give me heartburn. But I suppose you could.
No,
well, see, we
that's
have this thing
terminology.
here, the marmalade, and I think we've done this in a past lesson. Marmalade is not marmalade, because marmalade in English is the orange jelly, or the orange jam, or whatever.
That's right.
Only orange. We only have orange marmalade, as far as I know, right?
And here, for the most part, it can be, everything
Marmalade
from rose
is-
hip, rose petal jam, right? For
And
jam is what we would use.
Couldn't tell you the difference between jam and marmalade. Maybe somebody knows.
Well, marmalade is for the most part from citrus fruit.
Is that it?
That's how it works.
Okay.
But I don't know, rose hip jam? We would never say rose hip marmalade, would we?
No.
All right, so for the most part, we just go for jam filled or jelly
Right.
filled if you prefer. Jelly, of course, is a little bit different in consistency. I have some of my students get really angry about this terminology.
Well, jelly
Right?
here is what we would call Jello. Well, that's a brand name, but gelatin with when they say jelly, I think they mean gelatin. Is that right?
That's right. But
Yeah.
in British English, jelly can be jam, right? And jam can be jelly, but jelly typically is more processed.
I think jelly is smooth. Is that it? And
Yes.
jam has bits of,
Chunks.
I'm going out on a limb here because this is my interpretation, my personal
Well,
interpretation.
you're a native
but,
speaker. It's important to get your interpretation.
this is my 2 cents. Jam to me jelly is smooth and kind of, more processed. No bits, no annoying seeds or anything like that.
Well, then what about POŚCIခြ advocata?
Well, that's a kind of a thick egg cream, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So.
And it's also a liquor as well, right?
Yeah,
You can get that
that's
as
it.
well. But you would say egg filled, cream filled. I don't know what you would say.
Egg cream? I mean, it's a.
We would say Boston cream, but that's something completely different.
Is that
right?
different? I'm not sure. I know what a Boston cream pie is, but is that cream advocat? Is that?
It's something similar, but not exactly.
Okay.
But you can't say, I am having my donut with an advocate.
No. But I think.
Which is another strange Polish word. Advokat. Why is one a lawyer and the other one is egg liqueur? Or cream.
That's a question for somebody out there to answer, because that I have no idea, how that came about, calling this kind of cream advocat.
So that's a little bit of a tangent, but for the most part, you have different types of donuts. You have, we can say jelly filled, jam filled. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You could say I have an egg cream. Is that okay? Filled donut.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that should
Or
be
just
fine.
a cream.
A cream. Cream is
like
good.
I would never tell my son it was egg cream. He would say, "I will not eat that." But if you do, he would eat it otherwise. So I would just say it's got cream.
And what about zipovidwami? No, that's another one.
Powidło is
Powidło,
like...
yeah, I mean, this is where the students go, marmalade is citrus, powidło is typically plums.
Right, to me that's those pesky, right? Anything with the big seeds, that's, you know, you have
your own theory.
Yeah, oh, I do, I have theories. That doesn't mean that they're theories, right? They're not...
Plum jam.
Okay.
Can we go with that?
Let's just go with that and move on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
For the most part, you're going to have to describe to a non-Pole what the fillings are.
Yeah.
Because if you do say something like, oh, it's marmalade, we're just going to assume, well, I would think, as you said, probably some sort of orange filling. And that would be inaccurate. Mm-hmm. And if you were to say advocate, we would have no idea what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And if you're talking about powidło, powidłami, I think you're going to have to then really explain, okay, that's from plums. The filling is from plums. It's a type of jam.
Right.
Now, I'm going to move a little bit away from the Christian traditions. We've just talked about Tłusty Czwartek, and it's celebrated here before Lent, before Ash Wednesday, on Thursday, and then in other countries, we talked about Mardi Gras, Tuesday, and Pancake Day, which is all on Tuesday, just before Ash Wednesday. Mm-hmm. But there are also other traditions here in Poland, a little bit more pagan, in fact, and one of them is Marzanna.
Right, the spring goddess of some kind.
And what do they do here? It's really strange.
Well, they have a little doll that they make, and then they put her in the water, and
in kindergarten, in preschool, however you wish to term it, they build this effigy, this woman, and then they typically burn her and then throw her into the river.
Yeah, or some kind of water. They threw it into the little swamp, kind of behind our apartment complex last year, but that worked for them.
But for the most part, this is a tradition that does not exist in North America, does it?
No.
We're not burning old ladies and throwing them into the river.
Well, speak for yourself, but...
But it is symbolic. It does come from
pagan traditions, I guess, some kind of, old Slavic tradition.
Killing off winter, driving Marzanna away, bringing forth spring.
Yeah.
And this is something, do we have some sort of similar tradition in America where we bring in spring, like herald in spring? Do we do something?
There's Groundhog Day.
Oh, Groundhog Day, perfect.
Where, I think we did talk about this last time we did sometime, maybe not.
No, I don't think we did, Amanda, but Groundhog Day is a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's early. That's in February sometime.
So Marzanna is typically what, like March?
About now, right?
No, we're still in February, so.
Yeah, maybe. But it's coming. I don't know if there's a day when it happens or what, but it's kind of early spring. I'm jumping ahead. But yeah, Groundhog Days, I think it's happened already.
No, I thought you were talking about Marzanna.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for sure. Groundhog Day is on the 2nd of February.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
It is a celebration throughout much of the Northeast. I know, from Puxatawny in Pennsylvania is a big one.
Yeah.
And they wait for the groundhog to come out.
Right. And if it sees its shadow, what is it? If it sees its shadow, then what? You have 6 more weeks of winter, or is it the other way around? Okay, so and if it doesn't see its shadow,
well, it's scared of its shadow. It's going to see its shadow one way or the other.
Oh yeah, okay. Or if it goes back in or something, I don't remember anymore, to be honest.
But we do have a tradition. It's not pagan, it's just ridiculous.
It's just something, but I guess, people in this Farmer's Almanac or whatever, they do treat it seriously. So, so there's that. And I guess if you have something similar, I suppose the name for Easter has kind of a pagan
we'll talk about
background
Easter later in our
next
episode. But the other thing, of course, is St. Patrick's Day is another holiday that's huge in spring. Right? Just before spring, one should say, right? Because it is on the 17th.
17th, yeah.
But as the seasons are changing, and St. Patrick's Day is an Irish holiday, but it's really American.
It's because I think America's taken it over, and I mean, it's for me, the only associations I have with it are, street parties and people getting completely drunk and wearing leprechaun costumes and coloring.
Well, they do wear the color green.
Yeah.
Wearing the color green is important.
Right.
It
and
is the color
green
of
beer,
Ireland.
and so it's all about, people wear green, and they sometimes will wear a leprechaun hat or something.
So we do have 2 holidays that are somewhat similar, and you can celebrate them or not.
Right.
So Groundhog Day, for the most part, is not celebrated throughout the United States or Canada. I think it's just something that people
it's a
can
thing
participate in if they want.
I don't know if it's, I mean, people sort of, say, oh, it's sort of something that people, I don't know if they celebrate it, but it happens, and
but it's on the calendar.
It is.
It's on the calendar for sure. And St. Patrick's Day is celebrated.
Yeah, that's
for the
a
most
celebration
part.
for sure.
It's not a day off. It's not a day off at all.
No, but I think it's a big celebration for people that own bars for sure.
But Marzanna is not. Marzanna is not a holiday that people take off, burn an effigy, and then throw it in the river and drink all day.
It's an interesting little remnant, I think, from maybe pre-Christian days here, and it's interesting.
All right, and then we come to, the end of Lent, and that, of course, is Niedziela Palmowa,
right.
which would be translated
Palm Sunday.
Palm Sunday, it's pretty easy.
Right.
And you've seen some of those palms. They're absolutely beautiful here in Poland. Now, Palm Sunday, of course, is pretty easy. Palmowa, palm,
Niedziela
it's not
Palmowa,
not difficult to translate. But here in Poland, you have other objects that are not palms for us. These long objects that you can see that people construct.
Oh, those kind of sticks with the colorful.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have one to show.
Yeah, they're all everywhere. When the time comes, they'll be everywhere. You can easily get one. But
you could call that a palm.
What do they call those?
They are palms.
Okay.
They're called palms, but in English, my question is, can we call them palms?
No, because they're not palms.
It's a Polish palm. There are no palm trees in Poland.
We'll have to come up with a picture of one. I mean, they're everywhere. If you've ever been here during that time of year, you can't miss them. They're literally everywhere. And they're these kind of decorated sticks, right?
Well, they have grains, they're colored, they dye them.
They have dried
flowers.
and
flowers. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
In some places, somewhere in Małopolska, they have who has the biggest palm, and there's a competition.
They probably did that because I'm sure there were a lot of years where you couldn't just go out and get a palm. I mean,
come on, of course. So they recreated it.
You made it out of dried flowers or whatever.
But in the United States, we do not do that. We do not create palms.
No, they don't build those, but. Yeah.
No. Okay. So for the most part, Palm Sunday is pretty much the same. And that, of course, is the beginning of Wielki Tydzień.
Right.
And I always have problems with Holy Week. Now, that's the big problem. Everyone wants to call it Great Week.
Right. Well, because they do, you have your Good Friday, and it's,
Oh, sorry. We'll go through all the days.
It's all big, right?
So big or great. But in English, we typically use the word holy when talking about holidays.
Right.
Holy days.
Right.
So Holy Week. And then, of course, we have Wielki Czwartek, which is another day, which I would say, for the most part, I would just say Holy Thursday. But they also say Maundy Thursday.
Call it?
Maundy Thursday is what people say as well. Or the Thursday of Mysteries.
Right. So that was the day of the Last Supper, right? Thursday was the Last Supper.
No,
Piątek is the crucifixion, right? Mm-hmm. And so Thursday was the Last Supper.
That's right.
Friday's the crucifixion, and then 3 days later you have Easter, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, the thing is to remember Wielki Tydzień is is Holy Week.
Yeah.
And then we have Holy Thursday, and it's just easier just to translate everything as holy. However, there's the great exception, and that is Wielki Piątek, the crucifixion of Christ.
Good Friday.
The second holiest day in the Catholic Christian calendar. And that is called Good Friday. Now, why good? It's nothing. Everyone laughs and says it's not good. He was crucified, Jesus. And there's a lot of speculation. And one of the reasons is that they do believe it's God. It's the original meaning, God's Friday.
That's probably...
So that would make a lot of sense. Now, there's a lot of speculation as well concerning good, whether or not it has some sort of etymological connection to good, God and good. But that's not conclusive. What's important is that you do realize that Wielki Piątek is Good Friday. It doesn't mean that it's good.
Right.
It's simply related to the concept of God, and it may be a mispronunciation.
It might be the same thing like goodbye used to be God be with you.
That's right.
And, these terms come from a time when, that kind of stuff.
And the pronunciation has changed.
Yeah.
So we say, of course, Good Friday, but we don't have the connotation that it's a good holiday. We all understand, of course, it's the crucifixion of Christ. So those are just some of the holidays before the Easter season that we wanted to talk to you about. Well, not only holidays, special days, and terminology that's a little bit difficult to translate, as well as some, Polish traditions such as Marzanna, which don't exist in the United States, as well as Groundhog Day and St. Patrick's Day, which are becoming more and more common, I think, throughout the world.
Sure. Do they? I haven't seen any. Do they do anything here for? I mean, why would they do anything for St. Patrick's Day here? But
they do.
They
the
do.
Irish pub, or some people do like to celebrate.
Sure. It's another day you could celebrate.
So if you wish, celebrate it on the 17th of March. Enjoy. Even enjoy Groundhog Day if you like. We hope that this lesson has helped you a little bit with spring terminology concerning the days, holidays, Lent, and the rest. And we look forward to talking to you about Easter as well. So bye-bye for now.
Bye for now.